First of all, I'd like to say hi to everyone and thank everyone for all the support and the love that I've been given. It means the world to me, and everybody doesn't know how hard I work and how long it has taken getting here. This was actually a suggestion by a friend, and at first a few people have told me I should do a podcast, and I said no, that I didn't want to get that deep into this and go that far. But I have been considering it, and after talking to a few friends and mulling it over, I decided that it is doable. I do have to learn a lot about doing podcasts, and I am relatively new to the atheist arena of blogging and writing and debating. So I feel kind of like a newbie, lost sometimes. So you have to forgive me for that. I do believe that the podcast is going to be called The Talking Vagina, which is a little bit tailored towards the extreme, but it seems to be working. And one thing that I love is the shock value that it brings to people who can't, really get into the idea that I can say vagina so easily and so blatantly, being that I am a woman. Um, but I don't feel restricted by religious concepts and dogmatic ideas. So I feel a little bit more liberated to express myself. And honestly, the atheist community has made that so much more possible for me. I am a bit of a feminist. In the manner that I believe women should be equal to men in the rights that they enjoy and the privileges of society and in the pay. Other than that, I do see the biological differences in men and women, and I know that while we strive to be equal counterparts with men physically as well, relatively it's not quite possible. So Mother Nature had something in mind when she evolved us the way she did, and I can't negate that. So I don't try. I do try to be more understanding because a lot of what we see in men is cultural upbringing and their development. And while I don't excuse that behavior, I do excuse that they were trained this way and that it's going to take some time to retrain that thinking out of their minds. So I am feminist in that aspect that I do want the equality to be there, men to treat us fairly, but I do also realize that as long as religion exists, we're going to have a struggle with that as well. Um, I am very liberal. A lot of people say that that goes without saying when you're talking to an atheist. You're, of course, talking to a liberal. That's not always the case. I have met Republican atheists and libertarian atheists, and I would say that I'm liberal to an extreme. And being a biologist, that I have that liberty. Um, because when you study science and you realize that morality is a concept that we construct based upon our perceptions of what is right and wrong at that time, then you realize that when somebody breaks some of those moral codes, really there's nothing we can do except for look upon it badly. But when it comes to biological nature, there is a lot at work there, and so I understand that. Um, and that brings me to my next point. I am studying to be a biologist, something that I absolutely love. I'm in a wonderful school being instructed by amazing teachers, and I feel like I'm actually doing really good at learning quickly. And I can't wait to start my career in research. And I hope to get to explore the world and see many things, many, many things. So that's just some about me. I created the Godless Vagina um, on the way home from the Reason Rally and the American Atheist Convention. It was ironically right at my birthday, and I had gone there as my yearly birthday treat. And on the way home, I was thinking about the war on women and the power that the Republicans are trying to steal from us after such a long era of change and progress. Now it seems to be slipping backwards at the hands of dogmatic ideas. And that for me is very frustrating and scary because I know that in my lifetime a lot has changed forward. and now it seems to be slipping backwards. And this is it's a scary trail, scary slope to be on, especially for women and the future that we want to have. I don't feel that women are not as intelligent as men. I have read studies which say that while men have a larger brain, women are actually able to use both lobes. They interconnect. So when we rationalize, we tend to do it with both lobes. Whereas men, the reason that they are not as good at multitasking is because they only actually function on one lobe of their brain at a time. So while nature may have given them more material to work with, it gave us better instructions at doing it. And that's why I think that women can be great at science and math and anything else if given the opportunity. And unfortunately, religious dogma doesn't allow for that. So that's kind of a concern for me, and I feel the atheist community as well. And then I did want to talk about the atheist community and what it means to me. Um, when I first became an atheist, uh, I became an out and out atheist. I was very angry, um, having realized that my upbringing, my religious upbringing, was basically built upon lies, lies that have obviously been propagated for centuries. However, when I learned really that what I had been all along, I felt like I had wasted a great deal of my life in this dogmatic stance, and so I'm trying very hard to make up for that. But another thing is, I was warmly accepted into the atheist community. And some of my first few encounters made quite the impression of the strength and the nature of thoughtfulness and togetherness in the atheist community. Um, I realized that there are a lot of variables within our community and variation, a lot of diversity, and there are at times struggles. I don't want to be part of those struggles. I can understand an underdog mentality in those who are struggling to make it. I can also understand the stance of various atheists within the community, but I think that we need to unite under this one umbrella and, for what it's worth, work on all of the positive aspects we can, seeing as how we're something relatively new as far as becoming a community, organizing, and getting out there. So, I think that the best thing we can do is overlook some of the arguments that could be blatantly placed out there and just work together with each other. And I'm happy to have become an atheist. I've gotten to know so many wonderful people and uh, see that there is a charitable side to atheists, a thoughtful side to atheists. Some of the most smartest humans I've come across, wonderful at debate, a lot of them. Um, and just the structure of thoughtfulness and regard for the history of the planet in our world and all of the accomplishments we can achieve in science. It's astounding to me, and I'm very grateful to be part of this community. I've actually had the luxury of talking to people from all over the world since I became the godless vagina. And that for me is another area where I'm very grateful, because I've had experience with travel and seeing other cultures, but once I became an atheist and got to experience so many other cultures and understand the depth of the privilege I have with the education at hand and the materials to be educated and being born a woman, it makes me very grateful to be living in this society. But also, it's one of my favorite things to be able to talk to people from around the world. I find them fascinating. I find their struggles fascinating, and I really love entertaining the idea of knowing where I want to be in the future and what I want to do. And I've talked to people from Nigeria, Pakistan, the UK, Australia, India, and various other places, including Morocco, South America. And some of my favorite is learning how different the perception of America is, the cultures, the diversity, the education, the problems, and being able to communicate with people gives me that ability to try to change their mind, change their life, help them as much as I possibly can, and lend a voice and an ear. So I feel like doing a blog is not just something where it's a responsibility, but it's a joy and a privilege for me to be able to reach out and let people reach back in. And that's another thing that I enjoy is the exposure with like-minded people. So anyhow, this is going to wrap it up for my first introductory podcast. In the future, I hope to do a weekly broadcast and have guests for you guys. And I do hope you enjoyed hearing my ramblings a little bit. I'm going to edit this up and see what you guys think, and we will go from there. I'm going to let you guys have a little bit of a vote. All right, thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening, and I adore you all, and have a great one.